رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, our dear viewer of Salam TV. Once again, welcome you back from since last week up to now. We thank Allah for the ni'mah of life, for He has brought us from last week, that is 3rd August, up to today, 10th August, that is 2026 on the Gregorian calendar. We appreciate Allah because just right here, we all witnessed an accident that took two of the members of Next Media. May the Almighty Allah forgive them and may Allah give them light in their qabr bi'idhnihi tabaraka wa ta'ala. So what does that mean? Let us thank Allah for the ni'mah of life, for that He has rendered to us. We really don't take this for granted because around us we see examples every now and then. Al-Kamanja is my name, and here we are once again with the Alhidaayah show, which happens every Monday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. here on the screen of Salam TV. What transpires? We appreciate Islam and science, or Islam and scientific facts. And just as of previous week, for those who missed, we looked at the 3 embryonic darknesses, and you all appreciated that. We have the abdominal membrane, that is, plus the myometrium, and also the amniotic sac. So, in case you missed that, you visit the Salam TV YouTube channel and watch that episode or that show. So here we are once again today with a different aspect, that is chronic embryology, as we are continuing, and then today we are looking at fertilization and implantation. In the studio, I'm not alone. I'm with a sheikh and at the same time a doctor, Dr. Mpire Ramadan, a lecturer at Islamic University in Uganda. Doctor, you're most welcome, sir.
Naam, thank you. Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala mab'uth rahmatan lil alamin, Muhammad bin Abdullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. Our dear viewers, again, very much delighted to be with you for this series on Alhidaayah show, Islam and Science.
Yes.
Peter Ramadan, as always, your brother, way far from Isinjiro. Now, the people of Karunji, I love you. I know you are watching. People, by the way, my mother is born from, her origin is Bushenyi, that side of.
She's not from Masha.
That side of the deputy speaker comes from.
Right Honorable Thomas Daawa.
From that same district. Now.
So, Doctor, here we are once again with a different aspect, and that is chronic embryology, that is fertilization specifically, and implantation.
Now.
But, Doctor, before that, I would like to appreciate. There are some aspects in 2 or 3 minutes. There are some aspects that have been taking place on the media as of today, most especially social media, about the case of, about how the convicts of the case of Susan Magara were handled and how they presented themselves, and people have tried to portray that as Muslims are killers. Muslims are terrorists. I saw some post here where a lady said, I feel terrified, I'm paraphrasing, I feel terrified when I pass by a Muslim school because I look at it as a place where they are training terrorists. But then someone who was answering and he was like, but can you please be sincere? I am a staunch Catholic who went to a one Islamic school for 6 years, senior and form 6. But not in any lecture that you were told about being terrorists. So it touched my mind, and I was like, I will ask you, Doctor, to throw more light just within 2 minutes about that aspect.
Yeah, it is a saddening incident that we are watching actually on social media about that viral video that is moving. For that matter, that's actually a criminal investigation. I think that passed its ruling in court.
Yeah, it's done.
But I saw in that video it was the police investigation actively taking that interview on those suspects. So what I was not expecting is that if it was in their possession, how would it be released again to the public, since it was a case already discussed in the what? In the court. So matters of the court should be for what? For the court. This is what we call public court. I heard of it for, so it should not be taken back at it to the public, because I think only seeds hate and Islamophobia in the masses, and then Muslims pointing fingers on each other as if they don't have safety to each other. Even our fellow non-Muslims eyeing each other as if terrorists or what, something. It's something we really don't recommend, and we ask for those people who are in charge to really take a good responsibility to address such matters. There's no way you can bring fear in people over unsubstantiated issues, or relating it to Islam with people who are not authority about Islam. Like that lady could not even mention a verse about what he claims Quran says. So we have authorities about Islam. If we want right information, we would actually ask the Mufti of Uganda, Muwaje, Sheikh Saban Muwaje, or other authorities according to Islam, but not someone who is unclassified. I don't know, but it seemed as if the words were put into her mouth, and the whole incident was staged. Why, if it not staged, it would be released to the public for judgment and influencing people's opinion, causing misunderstanding, social unrest, and so it was really irresponsible for whoever leaked those videos, because if it was in the possession of the police, so it's a reckless act to send it to the public. Really, it questions us the motive. What motive was there behind that old video capturing? And I've seen netizens complaining, why would even those Muslims be staged in the religious attire before the court hearing? Which image are we portraying? Are we taking back people to those days where people were suspicious over each other? For us, we believe in harmony and homogeneity as citizens of Uganda, regardless of our races, regardless of our colors, regardless of our tribes and religions. So we want that kind of good spirit and nationalism to proceed without causing that kind of havoc in our social setting. So responsible people in the police, in the court, we request them to act responsibly when it comes to respecting our religion. Now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Doctor. That was by the way. We actually really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, when I get a English, I have to take question from my seniors, and now a doctor or a sheikh, like the way you are. So now back to our Quranic embryology, more specifically fertilization and implantation. What does really the Quran mean by describing the fertilizing fluid as a nutfa, or like small quantities that? Yeah, and how does it, you can relate that with the modern reproductive science, Doctor? Now,
we are talking about fertilization in this. That's what you're asking me.
Yes.
As portrayed in the title. Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Alam nakhluqukum. Many verses that talk about mimma mahin. Okay, or other verses that talk about خلقكم من نطفة أمشاج من نطفة. So when they talk about nutfa, they are talking about that small liquid that you are telling me to talk about. So many verses, many verses. ألم نخلقكم من ماء مهين فجعلناه في قرار مكين إلى قدر معلوم فقدرنا فنعم القادرون ويل يومئذ للمكذبين. So Allah tells us that He make you from that. He's showing us where he brought us from that nutfa. It's a small liquid. Scientifically, that liquid is very small. And in the Quran, in another verse, He called it sulala. So what we are seeing in a volume, in fact, it is scientifically, it is about 2 to 5 mils, a very small liquid.
2 to 5 mils can be this
people,
it can be measured in this syringe that the baby's syringe.
Our people call
Because
them
have 5 mils
CC.
and 10 mils.
Our people call them CC, those who have cows. And I know all of you have gone to the clinic. CC, Satu, CC. So these are 5 millimeters, milliliters. Milliliters are the CC, cubic centimeters of that syringe, yes. So 2 to 5, very small liquid. But again, when the Quran says sulala, means sulala timimma. Now, it is the word sulala is also specific, talking about, in fact, a small extract. You understand?
Yes.
So, meaning that small liquid that we see that Allah expresses as nutfa, but still there is another small component, a small extract that is referring to the spermatozoon that is flowing in that liquid, that is actually responsible for fertilization, sulala. So it is a very small substance, both in the verses and when it comes to real science. That very extract is the spermatozoa. The spermatozoa are the ones that are responsible for what? For fertilization.
Actual fertilization.
For the actual fertilization. So that's regarding the small amount. Yes, but the liquid itself does not only contain the sperm, as I said. The spermatozoon is just a small item, that sulala, that is responsible. But even the whole liquid is very small in itself as nutfa. But you can imagine most of it is water. You understand? Yes. So that's where someone comes from that kind of humble beginning.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. You talked about it as a small component in a small component in this fluid, meaning you note that
it's
all
a small
extract.
For us in medicine, we normally call it active. You know, when we say active ingredient, like when you have an extract of what? Of muluruza.
Now, you're from a cognosis.
The
extracts.
The question will be, what in muluruza? Muluruza is Vannonia amygdalina. In English, how do you call it? Bitter leaf. You call it a bitter leaf. So, what that actual substance
that you're picking,
that is of interest? There are many actives that are inside there, but which actual one is responsible? Someone could say amygdalins, okay, are the ones responsible. It's what we call vitamin B17.
Yes.
Amygdalin. Maybe is the one that you are intending for that function you are trying to explain. So now when we are talking about fertilization, in that liquid, the exact active that is of interest is the spermatozoon. And they are also in millions, by the way. They are in millions in that 2 mils. But those millions that are in that are just constituting a small percentage, because more than 90 is water, just plain water. And some of it is fructose, prostaglandins. So you can imagine it's a small
to provide energy to this
small thing that Quran described as sulala. Now,
Doctor, again about that specifically, when you talked about the active substance, and then you said it is just an extract, an active substance of these 5 mils. So meaning not that all the 5 mils, we've talked about prostaglandins, we've talked about the fructose. Now, what are these prostaglandins and the fructose for in the first place in this fluid, whole fluid?
So we have, for example, different substances. Fructose, definitely you need energy for movement, for this movement of the spermatozoa, because they have a mission, which is fertilization. Okay, we need the movement, propulsion. Okay, so moving, we need all that. The liquid medium being water, it is going to be flowing in a liquid, and much of it, since it is a semen and made of liquid, that's the flowing medium. You understand? So all of it is to give a fertile environment, and other substances that could resist the hostile environment from the vagina. Yes, because this spermatozoa is very fragile. Any mistake, it can die before reaching the mission.
I remember the other time we talked about, when we were talking about mating, you talked about this containing the genetic material. When you are talking about actually about sex determination, and you talked about that this active ingredient that is in this fluid here is also determining
the genetic,
is containing the genetic
the
information.
DNA. And imagine, suppose you see all this accompanying fluid and the constituents that are there are giving maximum protection, because even any hostile environment could actually damage the DNA.
To cause a mutation.
Any damage that you cause on the DNA, you are going to cause a different human being. So it is highly protected one, also remaining viable until fertilization takes place. So that's why most of they are raised in millions, survival for the fittest. Most of them don't make it. So it is it's the law of the jungle who wins and is well fed, very motile, is able to reach now. And the moment it reaches first, the ovum is designed, Allah designed it that it hardens to prohibit any other material, genetic material, from penetrating. When I talk of genetic material, I mean other sperms from penetrating.
Doctor, when you look at this now, this specifically the female fluid, the Quran describes it with very differently. You will find at certain place calling it or referring to it as maniyi, and then at certain point al-agsaf. So does this have any significance in any change, or it's the same composition or meaning?
Yes. By the way, it is adding a block on what we have already discussed. Allah uses different words. You know, he's addressing common people. Huwaladhi ba'atha fil ummiyina rasulan. Is the one who sent to a people who did not know how to read and write a messenger to explain to them. And the descriptions Allah was giving on this matter, the sperms and the nutfa, is actually a physical description of things that you can see with your eyes. You understand? So what science does goes on to do microscopic examination to see some details, but still they will end up blending together. But now if you start making details of microscopy to someone who doesn't know how to read and write, it does not bring out the picture very clearly to them. So Allah used different words. At times he said nutfatin amshaj. Nutfa, he called it that small liquid, and we have already seen it is just 2 to 5 mils. Very small. It is very small in the sense that the entire womb is very big in relationship to that small of 2 mils. That is attacking an entire womb volume. It is very small in comparison, right? But still, he also calls it sulalatin mimma. Allah also tells us or informs us that it's not all that volume that is actually all of it is important. Out of that small volume, he said there's an extract, and he called it sulala. That helps the microscope now. That is going to analyze the human semens to see that, oh, in it there is fructose, in it there are prostaglandins, in it there is water molecules, and they are actually spermatozoa that are responsible. So God was very accurate in his statements and said, min sulalatin mimma imahin. Sulala. So meaning that even in that small volume that we have discussed, there is an extract. So he's giving us different terms, serving different people based on their level of knowledge. So the person at that time, the Arab who did not know how to read and write, also understood that it is a semen, and is right. Okay? Because after all, the sperms or spermatozoa are included in that semen. So for you who has embraced embryology after many centuries and have realized that there is also spermatozoa, the sperms, the DNA that is in those sperms that are the exact elements for the fertilization, you also benefit from the another term, which is sulala.
Is also here.
You benefit from the Quranic term that is called sulala. So you see that Allah brings different terms to serve different purposes and different meanings, all of it making it one compound meaning. but serving different people depending on their what, on their level of speciality. Now,
and that very point, doctor, because if we look at fertilization and then you said,
by the way, among the terms, sometimes he used to say, to call it, to describe the moving, how it moves, like it is ejected. That ejectorium, it's not like it is being ejected. And how he described it in the previous lectures, we talked about yakhruju min bayni sulbi wa tarab. But before that we said mima'in dafiq. Mima'in dafiq. That from the water that is being ejected. He was describing the phenomenon of ejaculation. So when there is ejaculation is taking place, there is a push. You understand? And the motor speed that is given those sperms to move, meaning that if there is less speed, limited speed, if there is limited speed or compromised motility, mobility, compromised mobility. Mobility, that means from mobile. Okay. Yes. So if it is compromised, they are not going to be able to cross that environment along the female canal. You understand? So that's why he describes by these terms, ma'in dafiq, or that push in different verses. Now.
Yes, doctor. Actually, I think we would look at now the career in Makin, because when we talk about fertilization, but then you said it is this whole the fluid itself is small according to the environment that it is, where it is going, where this embryo grows from. But then you said there is something that this environment enables to stay there, and then you called it, like, there is a way it is described as it is family lodged there. So what does that, what term actually exactly mean?
Karar Makin.
Yes.
Now that takes us to another step. We have been talking about fertilization. So you are taking me to implantation. But that could be a longer discussion, maybe. Making a preamble, because in case they take us to a break, making a preamble for the implantation now. The other one was fertilization. But the question of Karar Makin is taking us to what? Implantation. I'm going to define, because you are owning me time.
Thank you.
I'm going to define it. So when we are talking about implantation, we are meaning, so after fertilization has taken place, you are forming a zygote. So that zygote is going to be stabilized. But the whole process takes place in the fallopian tubes, and we need it to move before the implantation takes place in the uterus finally. I think that's what we are going to talk about in the detail.
Yes.
Now.
So thank you very much, Doctor. We appreciate yours for this knowledge. At least our dear viewer who has just joined us, before we go in for the break, has understood that the specifications of fertilization, what actually takes place and what actually transpires and what gets up. So we said now when fertilization is done, we form a zygote, and now it is staged somewhere. Bidhni tabaraka ta'ala. We're going to go in for a short break, and inshallah that is where we are going to begin from. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes, Salam TV.
Billions are invested, promises are made, projects are launched. But what happens after the ribbon is cut? Are public fans delivering results? Are communities seeing the impact? Every Sunday, NBS Television follows the money, audits the promises, and examines the projects shaping Uganda with facts, evidence, and voices from the ground. Fixing Uganda, auditing progress, demanding accountability. Every Sunday, only on NBS Television. Do you have knowledge, confidence, and the desire to compete? Then prepare yourself for the biggest quiz competition in Uganda. Omumanywa Salam TV at 2026-2027. This exciting competition will traverse 8 regions across Uganda: Busoga region, Eastern region, Northern region, West Nile region, Southwest Nile region, West region, Greater Masaka region, and Kampala metropolitan, before culminating in the national finals. The participants are to compete for prestigious reward: Hanji package, motor vehicle, land title, Umrah packages, motorcycles, cash prizes, gift hampers, among others. Don't miss this life-changing opportunity to test your knowledge in the areas of theology, history, current affairs, and general knowledge to learn, compete, and win. Registration is only 20,000 Uganda shillings. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact 0702-988-064 or 0776-988-064. Omumanywa Salam 2026-2027. Knowledge, excellence, and opportunity.
Eno ye Salam TV.
We'll be back from that very short water break. We thank you, our dear viewers of Salam TV, for tuning in to this screen of Salam TV. This is the Alhidaayah show, where we do appreciate Islam and science as our theme. And today we are looking at a very important aspect, which is somehow the beginning of all of us. I, Alka Mayanja, and also you, our dear viewer of Salam TV. And that is the embryonic or the Quranic embryology, and more specifically, fertilization and implantation. So if you missed our first session, we looked at the nitty-gritties of fertilization, what actually transpires or what takes place to enable fertilization to take place. We've described a lot of terms, the not fertile, which we might not go back to. But as we went in for this short break, in the studio I'm with the Dr. Mpiro Ramadan, a lecturer at Islamic University in Uganda. And Doctor told us that after fertilization taking place, now the term changes to another stage, which we would like now, Doctor, to take us through this very important stage. Doctor, what is this stage that you hinted about as we went in for the short break?
Implantation.
Yes.
Naam. ثم جعلناه نطفة في قرار مكين. في قرار مكين. Allah says that then we make it a nutfa. You see, the nutfa can have two meanings. Okay? Yeah. It has meaning for the sperm itself, but it also have meaning for that mixture that is formed after what? After fertilization. When we make a mix, in the terms that we discussed last time, amshaj, okay? Now Allah gives another meaning, another term to mean the zygote, in fact. You understand? We said he uses different terms. We saw an extract. We saw an entire liquid fluid of 2 to 5 mils, which is the ejaculatory fluid, the semens. Yes. But now we are having a new term called the zygote. Okay?
Doctor, there exactly at the zygote. There is at a certain point when you call it a zygote, and then there are moments when you say a fetus and then an embryo. So when do all these change?
Fetus and embryo, we shall talk about it in another series.
Oh.
For me, I don't mix, because that's another step. We are going to talk about embryonic stages in development alone. But today we are looking at implantation, which is the earliest stage. The earliest stage is the nutfa form. And now, as we have said, Quran gives us these terms that you asked me in the previous session. Why is it giving us different words? Sometimes they say sulala, then they say nutfa, then they say nutfat amshaj, and so on. So you realize that now when the sperms actually fertilize the ovum, okay, it is going to form a zygote. That stage is also still called nutfa. Okay? Yes. It is still called what? Nutfa, because it is still a small substance, small liquid. According to the physical characteristics, when you are looking with your eyes, forget about microscopy. It is still the other small liquid. But now it is a mix. He calls it a mix, amshaj.
So at a cellular level, that is when we get back our diploid. It is our diploid
yes.
now.
At that level, still now he calls it a mix, because you are mixing the semens from a man, which was also actually a mix of spermatozoa and other components. But now you are adding in the ovum, making it a more mix. You understand? And he says, not fatty, amshaj. You understand? So he said, Summa ja'alnahu nutfatan, we made it a zygote, fi qararin makin. Fi qararin makin, qarar means stability, where you stabilize. Makin comes from the word makan, like you are in position, positioned in a place that is stable. So Allah was describing the what? The uterus. Because the whole implantation starts from the what? From the fallopian tube. Because these sperms are going to move at a high mobility. So they will find the egg, which is released from the what? From the embryo, from the ovary, and is going to be propelled by serial motion through the what? Fallopian tube, where they will be waiting for the what? For fertilization to happen. And that's when, if it does not happen, it's like a what? We normally use a term that it is disappointed and then results into the menses.
Yes,
but now when it is not disappointed, it is going to reach its fate. When the sperm comes, we'll find it in the fallopian tube ready for fertilization, and it will take place, make that mix that God was describing as not fatinam shaj. So it is going to be propelled and then continue to the uterus. In the uterus, you remember we talked about the endometrium lining. The whole uterus will be prepared with food, that lining, with a lot of nutrients, ready to receive that zygote, and then implant on the uterus. Starts development, and of cleavage would immediately start, then continue, which is single cell becomes 2 cells, 3 cells, cell division will continue until it becomes an embryo. So that's how it happens. From there, it will receive nutrients from the mother. But now, Allah is calling it Qarar Makin, and scientifically it is going to, they will be like fingers. It will attach itself like a parasite on the endometrium.
Yes.
To get the feeding from the mother, that stability. Allah is calling it Qarari Makin by many reasons. Many reasons. By the way, if you look at the epidemiology, you realize that about 60%
The diseases
of implantations are not successful. Things stop at that moment. They never stabilize. So it is still Allah, great qadar from Allah, that decides which one is going to survive and implant successfully and which is not going to be successful. There is what we call organ rejection. You have heard of people having transplants and the organ is rejected?
Transplant.
Yes. They give you a kidney and the body rejects it. They give you a heart and the body rejects it. So you need to first work on the immunity.
The immunity matching.
The matching is there, also reducing the immune response by giving certain medications. The suppressants. So immunosuppressants will be needed to avoid organ rejection, because normally the immune system was designed to detect any foreign body that comes from outside. And today the foreign body, our dear viewers, is the zygote.
Yes, because it has not been part of this body.
Yes, the moment it stages in the uterus, Qarari Makin, then the machinery of the immune system is going to come and attack it. So the body is going to reduce immunomodulators to prevent that ejection, that rejection of the what? Of the growing zygote. And all those amounting to the stability that we are talking about. You understand? So there are a lot of things that are going to be coming into play to make sure that it happens and stabilizes. When the Prophet was saying in the hadith, talking about implantation, he said, that if water falls in the rahim, kabadaha malakun, Allah has put angels that are responsible for implantation. Kabadaha malakun, the malak or the angel that is responsible for implantation holds the semen or the fluid or the zygote. He holds it. He holds the zygote in his hand and asks Allah, mukhallaqatun am ghayr mukhallaqa? Is this zygote meant to live, or it is not meant to live? So when we talk about living, we mean to reach the time of what? Of getting the spirit.
Yes.
And I think as we are discussing the next series of embryonic stages, we shall see when the spirit comes, the time that the spirit what? But today we are talking about implantation, the earliest stage. That's why we are talking about the angel who is seizing and holding this fluid, this zygote. Okay? Yes. So, in kala mukhallaqatun, when Allah says okay, in kala ghayr mukhallaqa, if Allah says it is not going to be to live, kabadaha malakun, wada'aha aw kadhafaha daman fataskutu daman, the angel is going to release it and it falls off as blood. So all that will happen in days before the spirit comes. That is before 3 months. Before end of 3 months. Or we can say before 4 months. Okay? So any time there, it is going to be thrown and it will fall. It will be either a menstruation, which comes immediately after fertilization. You know, people, when the menstruation happens after fertilization immediately, it will be experienced as menses still.
Actually, it is difficult for a layman to understand, to differentiate that.
You not even find any difference because it was at earlier stages. The implantation was not yet stable. But when implantation has happened and now it has turned from a fluid into a blood, a serious blood, now we are talking about miscarriage. And there will be serious bleeding because the mother has started giving in the blood,
the nutrients,
and others, and the nutrients. So it will be more serious, and we are going to talk about miscarriage.
In the next stage.
But before that, though it is at fertilization level, it will be experienced as if it is a normal menses. So all that one is pointing in the hadith, mukhallaqatun aw ghayr mukhallaqa. If Allah says it is not meant to be alive, the angel releases it, and it does not stabilize. Fi qarari makin, does not stabilize in the what? In the womb. Wa in qala mukhallaqatun, if Allah says mukhallaqa, it is meant to live, okay? Then the angel asks questions. Aina rizq, what is it going to eat? Adhakarun am untha, is it meant to be a female or a male? We are talking about at a genetic level now. So this is at a very early stage that even angel does not know whether it is a male and a what? Or a what? Or a female. At the very start, you understand? Because at the very start, you even don't know which sperm has fertilized. Is an X or a Y.
Yeah, true.
You understand? So at that moment, the angel, when he's holding, he asks the sex, he asks
the risk,
what is it going to eat? Before he leaves it to stay, he needs to know all that disclaimer. What is it going to eat? وَبِأَيِّ أَرْضٍ تَمُوتُ, where is it going to die? Ashakiyun am Sa'id, is it going to be a good being or an evil being? Is it going to be a criminal? But these days, by the way, not everyone is in prison is a criminal. Some things are pending correct investigation. We need our law enforcers to do fair investigations to arrive at the real criminals who are supposed to serve. It is very unfortunate when someone who has not done the case to serve it. So that's very dangerous. In Islam, substantiating the evidence is primary. So it is better for a criminal to survive than pinning an innocent life. You understand? So in Islam, we base on evidence as primary, because allowing a criminal to live is better than taking an innocent life by a wrong judgment. So that is very important for the law enforcers and those people in court. It is very important to note that. That's the stand of Islam in defending human life. Woman ahyaha, and Quran says that whoever gives life to one individual, فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا, it's like he has given life to the entire humanity. So Islam stands on that. So on Karar Makin,
meaning at this moment Islam is discouraging killings and the sorts.
Yes, exactly. You can, especially even whether you are the law enforcer making an investigation, you have to be thorough to be sure that the evidence I've got is substantial enough. It's not a claim. You understand? It's not out of coercion. Someone is giving you a testimony out of, you understand? So like I saw those girls in the video, someone is laughing, smiling, and making a big statement against their lives that could be translated into maybe a sentence, a death sentence. But someone is smiling, something to portray as if it is a staged act, to depict Muslims in some kind of picture, I don't know. But that's what an observer sees, and we call for a thorough investigation to arrive at the right justice. And that's the position of Islam. Now, so fi karari makin, if it is to survive, that they will ask those details. Is it going to be a criminal? That's why I brought up that part.
Yes.
Is this embryo going to be a criminal life, or is it going to be a good person? So people were wondering why I went there. No, all that is decided at the embryonic level. And the angel Allah is going to tell the angel. By the way, that's why sometimes you tell some people, you teach them manners and they never change. There are criminals that will never change because they were designed at the embryonic stage. They were destined to be evil. Like for you tell them, the one who was destined to be good, you give him guidance and he accepts it. Then the one who was destined to be evil, for you do your part and guide them. And because they were destined, they will never change. And that's why law comes in to give them their space, maybe in prison. But it becomes dangerous when you take an innocent person with wrong investigation or unsubstantiated evidence. Now, so the criminal is destined where? At that level. So Allah is going to tell the angel, idhhab ila ummil kitab, go to the mother of the book, fa innaka tajidu dhalika, you are going to find all that information. So the angel goes to the mother of the book. Allah has written everything that is meant to happen in our life in a book before they happened. So the angel goes and reads and gets the notes. Oh, he gets to know. Now, by the time you know as a doctor, the angel already read in the book. So that's why we say no one knows what is in the womb except Allah. Oh, you understand?
Yes.
It is something open. Even at the real implantation, how much do you know?
Nothing.
It means that Allah keeps on informing different people at different ages. At the first stage, very first stage, he first informs the angel. At stages later, he will inform the doctor, and he's able to use his scan and tell you this is now a male. At a certain age, say now this is a male, this is a female.
But of course, I think that is after even the rule has been put.
Yes, at different, but
Very
it
late,
is very late. But at least they know at a later age. But what we are saying, it is only God who knows at any age, at any time.
Yes.
At any time. From the real beginning, they don't know. You understand? But he informs different people, and the first person to be informed is the angel. Later, different people with knowledge. Even mothers who have knowledge, experience in breeding, in bearing children.
The Gravida 5.
They will tell you that this kick is from a male child.
Yes.
So the child is going to kick them and say, oh, this is a male, or this is a female. So Allah informs different people. Then there are people like Arkam Mayanja, who has never married, the presenter, who are waiting to know at birth that this is actually a boy. But there are things that you never know, whether this is a criminal or a good person. You will never know. You never know whether this is going to be a wealthy man or a poor guy. But all that comprehensive knowledge is in the book of Allah that is written at the embryonic stage. Yes. So, وَجَعَلْنَاهُ نُطْفَةً فِي قَرَارِ مَكِينٍ. Making it stable there is something that is predestined, or else it is going to be a miscarriage by Allah's decree. So the whole story is about Allah's decree, and that's why we have a big prevalence of early miscarriage. When we call it early miscarriage, but actually menses after fertilization. Most of them don't get successful. About 60% don't get successful, which is entirely Allah's decree, meaning that they didn't pass the other qadar, the other destiny that Allah put.
Right.
Naam.
So, doctor, all this that you've talked about, the staging of this embryo into the womb, it has been by a hadith backing.
No.
Does the scientific bit of it also confirm that this embryo rests actually? And actually, when it rests, what protects this embryo of ours at that very moment? That is from the from the scientific perspective.
Oh.
Yes.
Now, in fact, wallahi, Quran directly merges or matches or coincides with science. They move together. If a scientific fact comes, it will never contradict with the Quranic statement. I've already hinted it in science that there are a lot of challenges that are waiting that sperm. By the way, even before reaching the implantation, passing through the vaginal canal is a tug of war. Sometimes there is different pH, acidity, what? They are targeting to kill that sperm, that spermatozoa. It is very fragile, and that's why, I don't know whether you asked me that question, why Allah called it ma'im mahin. Okay? Allah called it ma'im mahin, not a humble water. Mahin in Arabic can mean something that is low quality, something that is despised. But he was not meaning it in that format. He was meaning it in its quality. It barely survives. It is fragile.
Yes.
You understand? In fact, to know that it is fragile, can you imagine a liquid that is 90% water, just water? There is no chemical quality in it. Just how many chemicals are there? A few percent, a small, minute percentage of fructose, minute percentage of prostaglandins, just a few millions of sperms that are consisting of like a 0 point something percent, and the entire thing being water. That makes it, that exposes it to the worst environment. So that environment that is hostile, and you have that ejaculatory force that you give that Allah described, ma'in dafiq, that has to push it, meaning that they have to have a propulsion to be able to run. So many chances of making it fail. And they have to be raised in millions because most of them are not going to survive. You know why a dog produces many kids?
I don't know.
Chances of survival are low. And that's why we also release millions of sperms, yet we want one. That means that it is very fragile and it needs to be raised in millions. And the cow gives one kid, one calf. But we eat cows every day. We have many cows, but no one eats dogs. But you look for dogs, you don't find them. Yet they produce very many times a year and very many kids. That's survival. So the sperms are raised in millions, and it explains why they will not survive. It is very fragile, and that's why they are very many. You understand? Yeah. So that's the scientific backing, that even reaching the chance of fertilization is 1 in a million. You understand? But after even reaching, being able to survive and fertilize, the cleavage taking place, being able to come in the right position, because you have had ectopic pregnancies happening in the fallopian tube and it cannot survive, they need to remove it. All those ones are chances that are failing it. Finally reaching the right site in the embryo, I mean in the uterus, and then stabilizes without rejection, organ rejection, you remember? I talked about organ rejection, but today we are talking about embryo rejection. The body may even sense it as a foreign body and hit it with the immunity. So we need immunomodulation to stop that, to combat that, suppress that, make sure that it survives. So all that time is really what we are talking about, the stability that is backed by science, that the thing is even not stable, is not safe. It needs a lot of force scientifically coming up together to make it survive. And that's what we have been talking about in the hadith, backed by science.
Doctor, in conclusion, what is the last take to a believer and our dear viewer of Salam TV about this Quranic embryology, specifically about fertilization and implantation?
Now I want you to tell me, this is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a man who grew up in the desert 14 centuries ago, who didn't know how to read and write, telling you these details in science, of which embryology have been embraced in this century and the previous century.
18th and 19th.
18th is far. This is 20th century knowledge. 20th century what? Knowledge. And it was minimal. It is being advanced in 21st century. You understand? Yes. But he gave us details that could not be challenged. If this word of Quran was from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then science would have been able to find loopholes in his statements, because he gave us details in the Quran and in the Hadith. And that's the fact that Quran is a book of Allah. Had it been a book of Muhammad sallallahu, then it would not have survived the test of science. And science would have disproved it. And Allah already challenged us in the Quran. He said, "Sanurihim min ayatina." We are going to show them our facts in the Quran. Fil afaq, in the horizon, we talked about the horizon when I talk about the universe. Or fi anfusihim, and in themselves, in the biology, in the embryology. Yes. You look into yourself. Hatta yatabayyana lahum anna al-haq, annahu al-haq. And it is very clear to you that this Quran is a fact from Allah. It is not a concoction of Muhammad as a human being. Okay? So that's what Allah challenges us. So those who are listening to me, don't take this as for granted. Gynecologists, scientists, embryologists, biologists, all of you, I call upon you to contemplate on the Quran, give it an ear, look at the details, and really understand the Creator who brought this Quran to you as a guidance.
Allah Akbar. Thank you very much, Dr. Mpiri Ramadan, our pharmacognosist by profession, and also at the same time a sheikh. I think we should appreciate you for taking nowadays it's called both sides, where parents take their sides for their children to the science world and also the Quranic Bible, because they actually appreciate this life more than anyone who has only one side. So we thank you, Doctor, and we actually pray that the Almighty Allah rewards you with more knowledge, and we pray that He gives you more life, such that you come back here at Salam TV and share with us these interesting facts about Islam and science. Our dear viewers of Salam TV, this has been the Alhidaayah show, where we do appreciate Islam and science. It happens every Monday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. When you miss these interesting shows, visit the Salam TV YouTube channel. They are uploaded there, and you will be appreciating all these. I remain Alkam Mayanja, the host for this show. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa
yes.